H-Town. What's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's number one urban sports talk show. Also, your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. But we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And it is Baby Friday. We affectionately call it Baby Friday because it's the last day of the week that we are on the show. On a Saturday, we got Chop Shop overtime at 92kells.com. We do that on the weekend. But during the week, this is a great, I love this day. I love this day. We call it Baby Friday. But let's start the day off. Great day. Great day in sports. Great day in life, y'all. Life is just good. And I just want to, let me see. Somebody just text me while I'm on the air. Let me start off with our starting five. Our starting five is the five people that start this Facebook and the YouTube feed. They're the first five people that come on. And today we got Rod Wells. We got Thaddeus Moody. Rod, I got something for you too. It's coming to you. We got Jessica Brooks is in the building. Dale Griggs is in the building. Tiffany Sanders is in the building. Y'all know when I got my girl. See, I know in our show our show gonna be good when my girls come on first. They set the tone. Women, y'all, hey, women rock. I know we just talk about women on Wednesday. I mean, it's Women Rock Wednesday, but I told y'all women rock every day. And then right behind those three women, the sixth woman of the day is Mindy Collins. So them two guys got in there first, Rod Wells and Thaddeus Moody. But those women came on strong right after them, y'all. Y'all don't understand how I love to see that. Because I know, then Crystal Wilkes pop up. Then I go on down. Let me wait a minute. Then Brandy pops in. Brandy Nicholson pops in. Let me see what mother girl. Hold on. Okay, all right. Okay, that's enough. I'm good. Hey, now you way down at the bottom. You know this. These men. We celebrate. We celebrate all of y'all. But we celebrate. It's women. I don't know if y'all noticed the screen behind me. Unique screen. These are the All-Stars. This year's All-Stars, and those are the guys. They did a little cartoon of them. Tonight. They're gonna choose teams. You know, Kevin Durant and LeBron James gonna choose teams. I just want to know, Paul Miranda, Corey Henderson, all the guys, even the women, Jessica and all y'all, who gonna be the number one pick? I don't know who gets the number one pick, but who is gonna be the number one pick? Who they gonna pick first? I'm just curious. I'm just curious, and I'd like to throw that out there, y'all, today. Y'all, let me tell you something. It's a lot of stuff going on in the news, and sometimes, y'all, when I come, for my monologue at the beginning of the show, I always try to find today. Let me tell you something. There's so many things going on. Doug McDermott, he comes on. Wait a minute. I can't talk to him right now. He don't understand the show is going on. It just kills me when people don't understand. But it's just Doug McDermott came out and had an apology, and he said something unique, y'all. And I guess we'll talk about it a little bit later. But he said some, y'all. This stuff is kind of getting to trouble me a little bit. Now that's why I talk to y'all. I want to talk to y'all because y'all are smart people. Y'all say some crazy stuff, but y'all some smart people. And hey, Karen, con man in the house. I just want to know. Barry said the Greek Freak is his first choice for the All-Star game pick tonight, y'all. But Greg McDermott said he offered to resign. Greg McDermott, if you don't know, he's the Creighton basketball coach who referenced telling the kids after I lost to Xavier, if you didn't see the show over the last couple of days, lost to Xavier, he said, guys, we got to stay on the plantation. I can't have nobody leaving off the plantation. That's what he said. So he said he offered to resign after his racially insensitive comments to his men's basketball team. But he said that he offered to resign after urging his players to stay on. But guess what? In his post-game talk, he said, our guys want me to coach. His guys want him to stay on the team. What's up, Ed Russell? Hey, Reverend Russell. I don't know if you saw the show yesterday. Go look up Greg McDermott. Doug McDermott. Greg McDermott up one time. I'm just trying. Yes, voter suppression. With Bill pass one more phase. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on. That's why I said a lot of stuff going on. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal, we got to turn this state blue. Let's not. We need to figure out a way to get that guy y'all talk about in the wheelchair. Y'all call him Hot Wheels. We need to find out a way who voted for his ass. We'll get back to that, Crystal. But Greg McDermott, y'all, he said the guys don't want him to leave. What do y'all think about that, Karen? Karen, what would the players a victim? They need to be protected from him. Boy, I love Karen Roach. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Just hold on one second. Y'all got to help me with this, man. He said the players. And you remember I said something about Stockholm syndrome a long time ago, and Jimmy came on talking about the battered wife syndrome. Okay. But I looked up the Stockholm syndrome, y'all. It's a condition in which hostages develop a psychologically bond with their captors during captivity. Emotional bonds may be formed between the captors and the captives during intimate time together. But these are generally considered irrational. Hold up. Hold up, y'all, because this man he keep calling. But generally, these are considered irrational in light of the danger or risk endured by the victims. Stockholm syndrome has been included in all kind of mental disorder tests and stuff. So he said, now hold up, y'all. I heard somebody said this. I don't know. They said when they came out for the game against Villanova, no, that's okay. Oh my goodness. Listen. Think about it, y'all. They said they came out when they played Villanova. They got blew out last night. When they came out, all the players dapped the coach except one. Somebody please find out who that one is. Somebody please find out. They said everybody dapped him up except one player. They didn't say the player's name. I want to find out who that one player is. No, I'm not multitasking today. Something happened. People, you know how they try to text you, but I would think they know that I'm on a show from 12 to 2. And it's kind of bothering me a little bit. But back on task. I'm just trying to figure something out with this Greg McDermott stuff that our kids, he said that the kids still want him to coach. His job is to coach these kids. So if anybody know anybody at Creighton, I don't know one of those kids. I'm just trying, the Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, Karen Roach. Because sometimes, I mean, it baffled me, y'all. It baffled me. I'm telling you, y'all got to understand some of this stuff, it's hard for me to talk about because I be thinking about my son. I be thinking about your sons. Tiffany said block him. Tiffany, quit being so mean. But that's a good idea, Tiff. But y'all, I saw something the other day. and somebody sent it to me. I didn't get a chance to talk about it because we got so much other stuff to talk about. And I saw this article. Where my people at? Where my mamas at? Where my mamas? Y'all know I love my mamas. Oh, Crystal, all of y'all. I need my mamas. I read this article from Baltimore. They said city student passes 3 classes in 4 years and ranks near the top half of his class with a 0.13 GPA. Do I need to repeat that? Headline. I can't believe y'all weren't talking about this. Because I've been had it since Sunday. Check this out. City students passes 3 classes in 4 years. A city student ranks near the top half of his class with a 0.13. Tammy said, what the hell? 0.13 grade point average. 0 point, not 2 point, not 1 point, 0 point. And he in the top half. It's in Baltimore. Let me read the first paragraph. Victoria, let me tell you something. I knew the talk. See how much I need my girls right now. Discovery out of a Baltimore City high school where Project Baltimore has found hundreds of students are failing. It's a school where a student who passed 3 classes in 4 years ranked near the top half of it. Tiffany France is the mama. She thought her son would receive his diploma this coming June. But after 4 years of high school, France just learned, I need to smack Tiffany. Now, literally, I mean, figuratively. She said she just learned that her 17-year-old son must start over. He must be moved back to the 9th grade. Tamika, Crystal, what's up, Trap Shark? Tiffany, guess what the mama said? He's stressed and I am too. I told him I'm probably going to start crying. I thought, Dad, y'all, I can't make this up. I don't know what to do for him, France told Project Baltimore. Why would he do 3 more years in school? This the mammy. She said, why would he do 3 more? Because he ain't learned shit. He didn't fail. This what the mammy said, y'all. He didn't fail. The school failed him. Y'all, Dale Griggs, y'all see why I always start this show with something to tantalize your mind? Some of these kids probably play basketball. Some of these kids probably play sports. But if you come on this chop shop, you're going to learn something. I learned 2 words last night. In my reading over the last 2 days, see what I do, y'all, when I find words. I don't know if somebody else do this now. When I find words, I'm reading articles and I'm reading stuff. I find words that I don't know. I put them in my notes under vocabulary. And then I go back and I try to find a way to use it on the chop shop or in my conversations. But sometimes it don't make it to the chop shop. But in my other conversations, I use these words. But y'all, I'm not done. The mama said he didn't fail. The school failed him. What do you think about it? Yeah, Paul Moran. Yeah, Paul Moran. The school failed. The school did fail at their job. Yes, they failed. They failed. But y'all got to help me. Y'all, I know y'all always looking at me. I need y'all help today. Robert Weiser, what is wrong with us? This, I'm gonna tell you that Fran's son he attended Augustus Field Savage Institute of Visual Arts in West Baltimore. His transcript shows he's passed just 3 classes in 4 years. He ain't got but 3.5 credits. Excuse me, 2.5 credits. Placing him in the 9th grade. These people say, yo, this, hey, I can go on. I can go on. I can go on. What are we gonna do about it? Where's the community? If these people don't want to educate our kids, we already know that. Where is our Sunday or Saturday teachings in the neighborhood in Houston? Somebody, because I don't know, I've been trying to find, and will somebody please give me a directory on the black bookstores, black-owned bookstores in the city of Houston? Somebody get me that information. Send it to chopshophtx@gmail.com. Okay, chopshophtx@gmail.com. Remember I told y'all something? I said, if your parents don't know nothing and you teach your kids what you know, then your kids are as smart as you are. And I know sometimes that offends some people. But we got to teach them common sense. Common sense would have told that dude. And the 17-year-old, yeah, but he's 17 now, almost 18. Somewhere common sense has to kick in. No. Victoria, wait. Count. I know sometimes people, I said bookstore, not public library. Bookstore. Okay? In case it was a glitch in your computer. I want to, in Houston, Texas, black-owned bookstore. Store. Okay? Come on, y'all. We got to do better. That's all of us. It's all of us. Because if it's happening to them, it's happening to us. And then it got a bill in Kentucky that would allow high school seniors to repeat another year. It's a headline. It's a headline. Oh, okay. Thank you. Kenneth Gamble. I'm finna read y'all a headline now. I'm gonna show y'all. So y'all get mad when Chris Walker come on. I heard some people tell me Chris Walker come over to talk about basketball. But basketball ain't this and basketball. We need to. We love basketball. We love it. Yeah. I know y'all do. I know. But Frankfort, Kentucky got a bill that would allow high school students, seniors to repeat a year to get another season of sports. They ain't said nothing about another season of academics. Kentucky lawmakers are advancing a bill that would allow high school seniors to repeat another year and still remain eligible for athletics. What's up, Yvette? These are the people that we are voting for. The reason I didn't want to hear about that governor we got, I didn't vote for him. I voted against him. Why I say I want some of us. I want the Yvette Machetes of the world. The Victoria Ways or her son or her daughter. We got to start getting our people, the people that got the same kind of interests as us. You remember I told y'all about politics. I know y'all don't like politics. Politics. I learned there's no permanent friends. There's no permanent enemies. It's only permanent interests. We got to find somebody, Mate, with our interests. I'm sure if Yvette was elected, Yvette gonna look out for my interest, because we got shared interests. Common sense ain't common these days. Great, great, but we got to have it. Yo, we got to start. People talk, well, the politicians gonna do it. People hire them. I just showed you just yesterday. The young lady from from St. Louis said, I didn't like the way he was running. I'ma run. Corey Bush said, I don't like what they were doing. No, you ain't gonna nominate me. Too old. We need young blood. Thank you, Victoria. But Victoria, I want some young blood. Victoria, I'll help them. I'll help them raise money. I'll help them. Whatever they need me to, I'll help them. But I want the next generation. We got enough Sheila Jackson Lees and all of them. We got enough, what's the other guy name? What's the other, y'all know the guy name. Edwards, what's the other guy's name? We got enough of them up there. We need some more AOCs. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. We need some more. We need some guys out of our basketball community, because then all of us will have shared interests. He think about it. What if a young basketball player was in the Senate? He'll know what y'all, this image and likeness thing. He'll know how it feel. Mitch McConnell don't know. He ain't never shot a jump shot in his life. Crystal Wicks, young lady, she ready to run. Al Green, thank you, baby. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Hey, man, we got too much power, man. Got too much power. And when we come back from this break, I got more. I know Jimmy will be back, will be on soon. But y'all know I'm gonna make you think. Before Jimmy get on, I can't leave this. Before the commercial, before the break, I got to share it with y'all. I took some notes this morning. Because when I see the stuff that Doug McDermott, I see the stuff that's going on in this school system. I see the stuff that Kentucky said, okay, y'all can come back and play another year so we can have some more fun playing basketball. Ain't mentioned nothing about athletics. But then I look at the white donors. Do me a favor, everybody. It's homework. Go read that Texas Tribune article. These white donors at Texas and not at Texas, all over they think they run shit. They think they run us. They think they run our black bodies that's on that field. Y'all got to understand, somebody was just telling me, long time ago, that song, The Eyes of Texas, was done by minstrel shows that white people used to dress up in blackface and sing these songs. These old relics, these old archaic, them young students are saying, we are not doing this anymore, Trap Sharp. I don't want to be a part of this relic. That's old. No. Then reality sets in. The boosters. I call them the owners. Derek Lane, my nephew, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee, in the building. The owners. I'm a millionaire. I'm a billionaire. Excuse me. The boosters. Owners. Hey, y'all. Owners of NBA teams, NFL teams. Y'all, I'm paralleling something. Follow me here. I'm a millionaire. I'm going to give these young black a chance to go to Texas. It's a privilege to go to Texas. And he had to do what I say. And if he don't, I'm going to cut him off. He can't work in this state. Black folks should be grateful to go to University of Texas. Our tax money, we get taxed, black folks get taxed just like everybody else. And their first response, go back to where you came from. What if we start telling their ass to go back to where they came from? Because they ain't from here either. Go back to England. Go back to wherever the hell you came from. We don't never say that. And this is not just a Texas problem. It's all over the country, y'all. It's all over the country. You don't belong here. Let me tell y'all something, y'all. I keep trying to tell y'all, and I know it's getting to a few of y'all because I've been getting calls about it. The power in this relationship at these PWIs, in these top colleges, like the Texas, the power, you know I've been on power. The power in this relationship, y'all, is held by the elite student athlete who is 17 and 18 years old and 19 years old and their parents. And I'm going to repeat that because sometimes we just don't get it. And every time I say it, people be smirking. When I said the power of the high school coach and the summer coach, y'all saw how much kickback I got. The power in this relationship, this dynamic, is held by the elite student athlete who are 17, 18, 19 years old and their parents. Many of them have dreamed of playing at the University of Texas. I've dreamed of playing at Duke. I never forget Rasheed Suleiman said, Duke is my dream school, and they put his ass out of there. Let me repeat that, Martin Vaughn, in case you just came on. Rasheed Suleiman, Duke is my dream school. And he was the only student ever the only athlete ever in basketball, in their basketball history, that Coach K had ever just told him to get the hell off my campus. If that's your dream, mamas and daddies, then recruiting is where the rubber meets the road. That's when you have the power. I'm not going to go to Texas because of this bush. I'm going to go over here and let them know in the recruiting, I don't like what y'all doing over this damn campus. I don't like the donors coming out. Parents, that's the power in this relationship. I know y'all don't like to have this power. Y'all got it. But you're right now. If you don't know what to do with power, you're tied up. I mess around and give you the keys to a Ferrari, you'll tie that motherfucker because it's got a lot of power in it. A lot of power behind that thing. They can't win without these players, y'all. You know what? I'm going to be a little controversial here, and then I'm going to go to a break. These moments like this, it calls for time. Somebody like Barry Switzer. If he was at Oklahoma and this happened in Texas, can you imagine the press conference? Come to Oklahoma. Not to say Oklahoma not racist now, but he'll tear Texas ass up talking about this. Don't go. See how they do you there? You need to come to Oklahoma. That's what they do at Texas. See, Barry Switzer would tell you, hey, you got to know how the game being played. Our opponent in the Red River shootout that all of us pay that money to go to, you see what they doing over there? Don't go there no more. Here's what they think about you in Texas. My question is, in this day and time, ask your kids, what is it like being a black athlete at a PWI? Who, whenever something happened, they have these Republican talking points, cancel culture, all of these kind of stuff. Chop shop. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey there, everyone. Tammy Allen here, your relationship coach. Tell me, do you and your partner feel like you're struggling to communicate and have begun living like roommates? No need to worry. I can teach you new, healthy communication skills to improve your relationship. I provide coaching via teleconferencing from the convenience of any location, including your own home. Call me today to schedule your first appointment at 713-597-4499. Or you can find more information at my website, www.allencounselinggroup.com. I look forward to working with you.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, who should be on shortly. A couple of minutes coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the world. And I just want to thank y'all, man. I'm telling y'all, with this community that we got in this platform, this is why it's so important that this platform be reached, people to like and share the show. Y'all got to realize, me and I know y'all know that. Me and Jimmy, we straight. You know, I can live out the rest of my career without doing really right now nothing, and but playing golf if I wanted to. I got a succession plan, and but this stuff, Chop Shop is near and dear into my heart, and I know it's more people. Like it's some more Dr. John Newsoms, it's some more Landon Ardwan around the country that needs to see this. That's why we tell you to share it. It's not for us. It ain't gonna benefit. It's not for us. Share it because hey, Jess, um, and especially be intentional when you talk to your friends. Hey, go over to YouTube and subscribe to YouTube, and it increases our digital footprint, and we can reach the world. This stuff is this stuff is this, and I know you want to get be selfish. I just want all this information for myself. No. A rising tide moves all the ships. We need the people in Tallahassee to know about it. We need the people all over. We need the people in Memphis. We need people everywhere. If they got internet connection to be able to get this stuff that if what's up, Tyrone? The soapbox heroes, he's back, is in the building. I got hey. I don't like to teach people golf. I'm not a good teacher. I'm too impatient. I'm like Michael Jordan. I can play. I don't know how to teach you how to play like me. I don't know. I just don't. My son, he be mad. Dad, don't you? I want you to teach me. Yeah. I mean, I'm just not a good teacher. Y'all notice how I always take my hat off to teachers and educators because that's not nothing I'm good at, and I admit it. That's why I always said pay them more money. Because they doing some stuff that I could never do. I'm too impatient. You know, try to teach you how to play basketball. I'm too impatient. Because I know I'm just so I can't. He said, come to Austin. Let's play Barton Creek. Dude, come on, man. Hey, go to that clubhouse, Barry. They know me real good at that clubhouse, Barry. Barry, one of my favorite places to go just to retreat when I just go to get away. To get away from my sometimes. You know, we go up to Austin, we go up to the Barton Creek and the Omni Hotel. They take care of us, man. We just sit out and just clear our minds for a few days and come back. And I play every course. And yeah, but they know me real well up in Austin. One of my favorite places to go. Just to clear my mind so I can come back and deal with this. But no, I can't teach that good. But I can lecture a little bit. I can go get information and try to communicate it to y'all a lot. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to get better. I'm watching the Joe Madisons of the world. I'm watching the Karen Hondas of the world. I'm studying these masters. And yes, I take stuff from them. They said the best wisdom is pleasurism. Only stupidity is original. Of course, I'm gonna take from the greatest. That's why Kobe said, "Okay, I want to learn how to do this. I want to steal some of Akeem Olajuwon's move, man." And I'm watching this boy. I can't wait to Jimmy to get on. This boy, Joel Embiid, man. I didn't. I didn't know he was that good. I'm just gonna tell you, I did not know. And but I played some during breaks. It was Texas about Florida A&M. They announced their new partnership, y'all, with Nike. It got a 6-year agreement to make Nike the official athletic footwear, apparel, and equipment provider for the Rattlers, beginning July 1st, 2021. And then they talked about FAMU, and FAMU talked about tradition, and the agreement will service the university's athletic department, all 14 of Florida's A&M programs, and the Marching 100 band. Nike will supply all team footwear, uniforms, apparel, and equipment. Florida A&M's sports teams will be outfitted in the LeBron James uniforms, okay? Apparel, footwear, including footwear designed specifically for their university. Matter of fact, LeBron had a pair of their shoes on the other night when they lost against Phoenix. He had a pair of the Florida State. If you go, Florida A&M, sorry, Florida A&M. And they said Florida A&M is not only the number one public HBCU in the nation. I didn't know that. But it has also produced some of the most significant trailblazers in American history. Figures such as Althea Gibson, Bullet Bob Hayes, to your Dallas Cowboy fans, Football legend Jake Gaither and Ken Riley are to name a few. Uh, that's nice. That's nice. I think I think that's something. I don't know if y'all already knew that, but it's all over the news. And I'm trying to, you know what? I could wait on Jimmy, but somebody talk. I'm watching some. I got a word for y'all today. No, I ain't, I'm not gonna give it to you yet. I'm not gonna give it to you yet. No, 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 no. Wait on Jimmy. Wait. Oh, then I saw something. I'm trying to wait on him, but hey, I saw something. Oh, Keisha Bottoms too. Okay, all right. Thank you. I guess she went to Florida A&M also. That's nice to know. I should have known that because I've been studying that lady for a lot. But it's unique, man. This these people call overtime. I know if you go Google, I see overtime. Overtime. I didn't know what overtime was. I just saw them posting videos on YouTube and on social media. Okay, overtime. We got Jeffrey Day doing it. All the Owls guys doing this. Okay, thank you, John Newsom, Dr. John Newsom. Um, Overtime, overtime, overtime. It came relevant to me when I remember R.J. Hampton when he was going over to Australia. I remember overtime was supposed to be following him and filming, documenting, his life when he left, all like they do on the Facebook. They was documenting his transition from high school basketball player to pro player. Okay, overtime. That's when and I'm just sitting there thinking about it. Let me read y'all something. Overtime announced its start Overtime Elite, which will allow 16 and 18-year-olds to go pro. They says there would be they said there would be 30 ranked players. Ranked players. Ranked players. Remember y'all said people be talking about ranking don't mean nothing? Ranked players. Guarantee $100,000 a year plus bonuses and equity in overtime and cut of license and a cut of the license sales. Then they say they got an academic piece that's included. Okay. Y'all want me to repeat that? Should I repeat that? Let me get Jim in here. Jimmy, what the hell Jimmy, what the hell you doing to me today with that? Man, I ain't never seen that. Damn Panama Jack. Man, hold up, man. You can't do me like that, man, on the TV. Let me know when you're going to wear something like that. Now I got to fix the screen. Hold on, y'all. God dog it. Hold on, y'all. Y'all see how you do me? Hold up. Let me put. Okay. All right. Panama Jack. What's up, man? I was in the middle. I was in the middle of talking about. I was talking about overtime. The overtime. The people who do the mixtapes and show all the video. But Jimmy, yeah. You know how I am. Jimmy. They made their fame and made their fortune to be able to do this on the backs of filming high school amateur basketball. And do y'all hear me? Jimmy, they went from mixtapes posted on social media using our little bitty black bodies, and now they want some more money. They're gonna give us $100,000, give you a part of license, give you some bonuses, some equity. Man, Panama Jack, you got to help me with it. No, that's Panama Jim. I'm sorry. Panama Jim. Boy, you shopping in Dick Woods when Hattie died today. my mom used to say.
Now, this league, understand what happens now.
Help me,
if
man.
they're willing to extend and offer these payments to the player, to the teenagers, then what do you think they're willing to do for the people, the foot soldiers, the people of influence, the people, the cattle herders? What do you think? Do you think they just hey, thank you for your, you think they're gonna stop right there?
No, do you think, Jimmy, I don't worry about the cattle herders, Jimmy. See, you love them cattle herders. See, your face. See, that's, you know what? And that's your train of thinking. I'm glad. My train of thinking is, how do we get these guys become this powerful off of our black bodies again? Alan Brandt said to me years ago, and people frowned at it when he said it, but I say it every day. Robert Hatter, look around this gym. Who in this gym? I said, everybody look like me. He said, but who running this tournament? We wasn't at your tournament, we was at another tournament. I said, somebody look like them. He said, Robert Hatter, this is a black man's game and a white man's business. Jimmy, and I know you love to mess with the handlers. Man, leave them Jimmy, we going to have handlers. Harriet Tubman, back then, them slave owners had handlers. Jimmy, you got to remember, Jimmy, when those white slavers was coming over to get us from Ghana, Jimmy, they needed some black people to help them get them on the ship, because they wasn't going to come around to them. Jimmy, it's been handlers since the beginning of time.
Another thing that I want to add to this is that let me tell you what's funny as hell. And I always, one of the things I always like to use the word selective hypocrisy. I just came up with that last year, remember? Okay. And it's been applied a couple of times. I want to apply it again.
Apply.
3 years ago, when LeVar Ball decided to do a league, everybody called him crazy. Everybody said he gave all the reasons, and you knew he had money to fund it at least for a year. But still, people discounted it. They discredited it. They even slandered it along with him, and gave all the reasons why it couldn't or wouldn't exist. And even so, remind you, there are players that participated in LeVar Ball's league that actually, after it lasted for 1 year, got granted eligibility when they went back to college. That is a fact.
Yes, I know one.
Now, in this situation, here's where the fun come in at. Oh. This is an overtime league. They're competing with the G League what is it, the initiative?
Yeah.
They're competing, the Ignite. Mm-hmm. They're competing with they are now. Meanwhile, Nike is the product sponsor of the NBA now. Mm-hmm. Nike is going to provide product for overtime.
I didn't see that.
And, I thought you just read that.
No, Nike. That's FAMU. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. I came into the show. Scratch that.
No, it's FAMU.
I heard you say no.
Nike. No.
So scratch that. Scratch that. I was that don't make sense. Right.
I got you.
Now scratch that.
Okay.
Now that's an ill statement.
Okay.
Now back to this overtime league. They are direct competitors of the G League Ignite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The G League Ignite is going on right now. And what's going to measure the level of success is actually how many of those players get drafted for many. That's watching. Mm-hmm. Guys are going to be watching. Remember, there are certain players that turned it down, like a Greg Brown. He went to University of Texas. He turned down. His dad was on the chop shop. He didn't specify the amount at the time, but it leaked out within 72 hours when being on the show. It was about a $250,000 at least that they turned down, reportedly. Well, if Greg Brown decided to go the UT route, which he's done, and they're doing fine with all things considered, and you look over at the Ignite players, and there were players that were we know Jalen Green, he's a free space in bingo.
Jonathan
right?
Kamunga.
And Kamunga. Them free spaces in bingo. Now, some of those other ones get drafted before Greg Brown, then that will open the door to possibly for other people to say, well, hell, Greg Brown will probably have buyer's remorse. Hell, I should have went and did this.
I think Greg Brown needs to stay. I think Greg Brown gonna struggle next year, Jimmy, in that league.
But understand something, Hal. What the person that told me. I know you've heard people tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're chasing.
Yeah, but go anyway.
A lot of these guys are chasing the bag. And if they want a bag,
listen.
He gonna get a bag.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to chase longevity, 10 years in the league, then that may be so. But a lot of these guys, it just depends on what he's chasing.
Jimmy, and I've been watching a lot, and thank for my subscription to what you call it, to ESPN Plus. I'm getting to see a lot of these guys. I'm getting to see a lot of these guys, the G League, and getting to see a lot of these guys, man. Let me tell you something, man. There's a lot of guys that look like Greg Brown is in that G League right now. It's a lot of them. A lot of them that look like him, the G League. So, I mean, it's just not just Greg Brown. I'm just talking about a lot of these kids, man. It's but that's a good analogy, Jimmy. But I'm just your Jimmy. No, you talking about the now. I'm gonna always try to figure out how in the hell did these folks come from using our kids on videos to become so popular and so financially solvent that they can do this. That's the angle that I'm always going at. I know you do. I'm always on that angle, Jimmy, because I'm trying to see how, if they can do that, why can't we do it? Where am I? And I'm just throwing a call out there, Jimmy, because, Jimmy, one of these days, somebody going to say, man, I'm tired of taking these videos and just take. Let me get with a conglomerate. Let me get with somebody can teach me how to turn this into some business. Instead of, man, I'm going to do it. I'm the video guy over here. I'm the video. Hey, y'all got great businessmen in y'all midst. Y'all got Jimmy Hicks on that show. Y'all got our email. You got me. You got our influence. We got to stop letting these opportunities like this seep out. And then, Jimmy, yesterday, you weren't on the show. I was telling folks, if you ain't got nothing good to say about a black business, just shut your damn mouth. Just like the people you just said was talking negative about LeBron Ball. They talking negative about the shoe. They talking negative about his league. Just shut up because you didn't do it. Ain't none one of y'all out there, none one of them people who out there talking about LeBron. They ain't got 3 sons that's that good, and they don't have a Ballers brand, and they don't have a league that they started. So why y'all always got to talk negative about everything? With your negative ass. And what have you done? It's killing me, man. It's just killing me, Jimmy. Because I thought about it when you said, everybody, even us, our own people was talking negative about LeVar Ball. You ain't got to like him, but just shut up. Carry on, Jim.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. This is going to be really intriguing because, as I said, the NBA is co-signing the G League Ignite team. they're endorsing it. So that's their sale. You play over here, you get to play and get taught by the best, by the former and current pros, because they put people like Jared Jack on this year's team, and Jared Jack is a guy that was in these young men's position years back, and so he's like the I say the Chris Paulish to the team. He's the player coach. He's one of the guys that can help them in the locker room and help teach them in the rooms where the coaches aren't with these teams. Don't get it twisted. Jared Jack is trying to play his way back into the league as well. And being around these guys, their games is some of the most scouted games in the G League when they had the bubble. The bubble is over with now. I think. Is it still going on, Heather?
Yeah. The bubble. It's still going on. Yeah. Jimmy, Jimmy, your guess is I've just got him in the green.
Top of the hour yet? No, we got a couple of hours. We go to a quick break, and we'll come back, and we have a guest is going to join us who's been around a mighty long time on the grassroots basketball scene. You know how we do it on Thursdays. We rock you with some grassroots flavor. We got some flavor for you today. And guess what? This flavor right here, what would you call it? If this was ice cream, what flavor ice cream would our guest be, Hatter?
I don't know. I can't see him that good. No. Hey, you ain't gonna put me in the middle of this, man.
I'm gonna call him Brother Pecan.
Oh, look, I've heard a lot about this man, but I've never had a chance to meet him. But boy, I've heard his name a million times, and I'm just glad he's on the show today. And I hope, because we didn't do a test, so I hope it's good. And Matt, if you can hear me,
that's what I'm saying. We go to break. We're gonna test him during the break.
Text him during the break.
We toss to a quick break. Okay. Come right back with our special guest for the day. Share the show right now. It's about to be rocking, and we're going to land the plane with this conversation because I see Crystal Wicks has a good question. We'll entertain that question when we come back. Right on the back end of this. You guys hang right there. Chop shop.
Hey there, everyone. Tammy Allen here, your relationship coach. Tell me, do you and your partner feel like you're struggling to communicate and have begun living like roommates? No need to worry. I can teach you new, healthy communication skills to improve your relationship. I provide coaching via teleconferencing from the convenience of any location, including your own home. Call me today to schedule your first appointment at 713-597-4499, or you can find more information at my website, www.allencounselinggroup.com. I look forward to working with you.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your the Chop Shop, the #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, and alongside Jim Hicks in that hat. Man, he telling people where he can get the hat. Jimmy, don't tell nobody where they can get. Oh, he know they ain't got no more like that. No way. That's why he telling y'all where to go get it at. He know that man ain't gonna have more than one. Cause if he got more than one, if he got another one like that, Jimmy wouldn't have bought it. He want to be exclusive. So don't go over there and get you another hat, but that hat there won't be there. And I'm still waiting on my hat because I'm looking at that big old hat you got on your head. And you talking about my head bigger than yours. You got to be out your mind, man. I can fit your hat. Talking about Esther. But I know we got guests, man, but I had to get you for that one. Talking about, man, yeah, it wasn't your size. Todd Freed got your size.
Todd Freed. I gotta see. I'm gonna see Todd tomorrow. And I'm gonna ask Todd. Where my Todd? I'm gonna text him. Todd, bring my lid back. You ain't wore a lid in 4 years since Halloween.
Jim, I need that lid, Jim.
But we want to acknowledge all of the viewers, of course, in the Boom Boom Room, YouTube, as well as the Facebook feed. We're gonna ask you guys if you would be so kind to share the show. This is what we call Baby Friday. This is a Thursday for you guys, but for the Chop Shop, this is our Friday. And this is what we normally thank. Shout out to Lupe Nunez for pinning the title Baby Friday on the Chop Shop a couple of years back. But without further ado, we have a guest that's going to join us, and this guest he's been all over. He's known all over the country in grassroots circles. And speaking of in the business sense, he found a niche and also found a way to go and create a business out of being in this gym and was involved with it. We'll talk a little bit about that shortly. But this guy also, more importantly, as many people, last time we had the young man from out of the DFW area where he was based at, he gave a hell of a story, and that was Derek Shelby when because he also was a hoop dad. And this young man right here is a hoop dad first and foremost. Don't get it twisted. That's primary for everybody that's a hoop dad. And without further ado, we have Matt Steffi. And Matt Steffi is with us right now. And with no sound check or nothing. Now that ain't bad, huh? That ain't bad for no sound check.
Matt, if you got if you got a lamp somewhere, or you can reverse. Or you can reverse your situation.
That right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, reverse your situation. I want that light to be on your face. There you go. There you go. See, Matt, Jimmy should have told you. Oh, you're looking good, Matt. You're looking good, baby. You're looking good.
Hey,
you're looking good.
He just didn't want you to show that Tony Romo jersey in the background. Hey, that's what it was.
I don't care. But Matt, this for you, Matt. Hold on, this for you. Hold on.
Here, this is better though. This is the little practice field back here. So we'll give you, if you guys are Cowboys fans, then
little practice field.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. Wait a minute. Is that the one in Frisco, Matt?
Yep, that's it.
Matt, I stayed at that Omni right there, Matt. And I can walk out of my hotel right into the thing, Matt. And the guy gave me a tour. Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really, really well done here. There's no question about it.
Okay, get back here. Get back in your good spot.
Football games. They've had high school football games in that stadium as well.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah, every so the whole backstory is that the Frisco ISD did the deal with the Cowboys, with the Joneses, and so they get Fridays and Saturdays during high school football. They get to use it. They have like Conference USA's tournament is here next week.
Yes.
In the building.
Yeah. So it's a multi-purpose facility.
Yeah. Core of it is office complex, and then the Cowboys headquarters, and then they have all the restaurants and the Omni and the multi-purpose use for all the families in Frisco and things like that. So it's a couple $1 billion will get that for you up here.
Man, that Jimmy, you've been in that area. Jimmy, them little shops and the little bars down that street. That's a nice little place over there, man. I'm just telling you. But Jimmy, I know you brought Matt a hoop dad. I was a hoop dad. But Matt, I've been hearing a lot about your son. I've been hearing a lot about that's who I didn't even know about you. I was hearing about the son. And they say he got a clip. So that means he can shoot that thing. So when Matt is on the floor, they holler, shooter, shooter. How does it feel, man? How does it feel, man? I mean, and I know you've been working hard, making sure you're on the right teams, on the right summer teams and stuff. Walk us through it, being a hoop dad. Yeah, I was blessed enough to have a son that was pretty good, and I know the pressures that you have. Especially when his daddy is of any kind of substance. Man, the only reason you getting that done because your dad and all that kind of stuff. My son had to go through that stuff. Talk to me. Take us through that process.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, and Jim knows this backstory a little bit. Jimmy and I have a mutual great friend in a gentleman named Brian Lloyd, who runs we have a company here called D1 Basketball that's still, I kind of call it rec level league basketball. And he still runs all that. But Brian was a 17-year Division I coach. We coached together at Portland State University. We actually coach Ime Udoka, if you guys are familiar with him, who's Steve Nash's associate head coach now with the Nets. So we were together at Portland State, and then he decided to get out of coaching. He moved here. I got out of coaching in 2001 to move to Dallas. So that's how Jimmy and I met. And Jimmy saw me. It was funny because like Derek Shelby, so Drew played for Coach Shelby in third and fourth grade, literally third and fourth grade. Mm-hmm. So it was Rylan Griffin, Noah, Alex from McKinney High. There was this crazy team we had. And then Derek and I had a huge falling out, to be totally transparent. And I got pissed and went and started my own program called D1 Basketball and D1 Shooters. And we kind of thing. And then we got our own deal with the EYBL with Nike 4 or 5 years ago. The interesting with Drew, though, is that after we had, the Davion Harmon, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Williams, Chris Harris, De'Aaron Tucker, kind of that whole crew of the class of 2019 was with us since like 8th and 9th grade. And when Josh Woodson and I kind of joined forces, if you will. And long and short is when they all graduated, then I said, all right, time to go be a dad. And it's funny because all the people that didn't like me for whatever reason in, winning games or losing games or recruiting kids and all that chaos, they all love Drew. so because he was like on the bench, at every game, and he was like our glorified water boy on the EYBL circuit when those kids were young, and so he was in all the huddles, and he was there when Josh Woodson and I were coaching, and got just a chance to learn kind of through osmosis, and now that he's older and kind of established himself, it's really honestly like two things. The best decision I ever made was just going to be a dad and kind of getting out of owning a team and all of that. And then, I ended up putting him up with Team Griffin in 8th grade. And that's just been like a super, super cool thing for him and very non-political. And then he's gotten better, right? I mean, he grew to 6'5", and I put him with Tyler Relf. And so all the things that he was when he was little, which was kind of like the stand in the corner shooter, because that team we had when we were little, Drew was playing up in the class of 22. So that's how we have all the relationships with like Lupe and Austin and Derek and Noah and Richard Law and his crew with JL3 now, when he was with the Hoops when they were little with Bryce Griggs. But we had, Cason Wallace, we had Cruz Davis, we had Amari Abar, who's the #1 football player in the state of Texas at Duncanville. We had a really interesting group of kids. Isaiah Foster, who's Drew's high school teammate now. Jimmy remembers, but we won like the John Lucas tournament in New Orleans. Jimmy was there. It was like this huge deal back in the day. Long and short, though, but becoming a dad and then letting him go become really great with other people was a great decision for me, ultimately, when I look back on it. And Tyler Relf has been training him now for 3 years and has really, really changed kind of everything about his game, and he's doing really, really well. I'm super proud of him. He's just a good kid. And it's funny how the world comes full circle, because everyone kind of likes Drew, and it's kind of even helped me like mend some relationships and some tensions with people, right, that didn't like me because we were just so competitive and we competed so hard, right? And now that I'm a dad, everyone's like cool with me again. So it's been a fun evolution of like doing it as a program EYBL owner and a coach, and then doing it for other kids, right? Which I know I listened to Shelby, like we were spending all this money and doing all this stuff for other kids that weren't even our kids. Like Josh Woodson didn't have a kid playing on that team. I didn't have a kid playing on that team. And now, being a dad and being able to stand on the baseline and watch has been a lot of fun. So, but the relationships that come with it have been really, really great as well. So got to meet Jim through that, and got to meet, tremendous amount of college coaches and people that I knew when I was coaching college, and then people that have moved, through their careers, and then people that were recruiting those kids, right? Because Davion, Tyrese, Chris, that group of kids was probably the most, Gerald Liddell, those kids were some of the most recruited kids in the state of Texas. So that's a little bit of the backstory. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. He'll be with Griffin 16s on the EYBL. We start in a couple of weeks. I think we might even be trying to still come down to Jimmy's deal. So it's a good group of people there.
Wait a minute. I need y'all to come down here so I can get a chance to see him. I ain't seen him in person yet.
Well, I just heard, I got a little text. So Jimmy's got some work to do, but it looks like we may try to pull that one off.
Okay. So I got a question. You said something, I'm listening to you. You said something. Now I'm on the sideline. I'm on the baseline. What kind of baseline dad are you?
You know what? I'm actually pretty good. I don't really say a lot at all. And, and it's been good. John Roby's been Drew's coach for now. This will be the third year. So 8th grade. Last year we obviously didn't play. But now this year, and Drew and him have become great friends, kind of like a big brother to Drew. And so he does a really, really nice job. There's no politics there. He runs great stuff. And the nice thing about Griffin is, because they won 16s 2 years ago with KJ Adams and Damian and Trey and Bajan and Jackson and those kind of kids, I think Jimmy was there, but that run they had at 16s with Kellen McCoy coaching was honestly one of the best coaching experiences or group of games like I had ever seen. Somehow he made all 5 kids, stand out through winning 6 or 8 of the toughest games you could ever coach. Like KJ was MVP of the championship game, but the game before Damian and Trey were, it's just so the way that Kellen coaches has now kind of come down the pipe for 16s and 15s. So now they're running the same stuff. And so the coaching side of things, which I think is a lot of times severely kind of lacking in AAU or grassroots, is really, really stellar. And so I don't really have anything to complain about other than if Drew plays bad, right? So yeah, I just get to stand on the bench and I do my little video so I don't get nervous. And then after the game, we kind of chop it up and figure out if there's anything I can help with from just my background. But yeah, they do a really, really good job. But it's been a lot of fun. And I got an 11-year-old coming behind me, so we're coming behind Drew. Now I got to go through the whole thing again.
Now,
that's good.
Now, we have Matt Steffi with us, and Matt is based in DFW, in the DFW area. And Matt, what is your day job? So people know, what do you do?
Yeah, so we run a private equity family office firm / fund that is 50% my best friend and business partner, Rob Wexler, and then 50% the Jones family. So we, if you remember, we started that company, Rob did, called Blue Star Sports. We acquired Bigfoot Hoops. We acquired Crossover. We acquired Primetime Sports. We acquired all those software businesses back in early 2016, and then sold it in 2017 to another private equity firm. And the Jones family had invested into that business. We really didn't know the Joneses, to be honest. Like, I didn't know them at all. And Rob just knew a couple of the folks that worked for him, but those folks got us in touch. They fell in love with the business idea. They brought a bunch of relationships to the NFL and USA Football. The guy that runs a lot of the Jones family business is a gentleman named Chad Estes, who was the point guard at Ohio University back in the Gary Trent team days and starting point guard. And his son Ben is a really nice player at South Lake Carroll High School right now. So there's a bunch of interconnected basketball things that kind of, I always joke that basketball runs the world. And yeah, so we did that. And then once we sold that business in 2017, we ended up starting kind of our own private equity fund where we invest in software and payments related businesses. So different verticals, not-for-profit, payments, hospital, healthcare, sports, a bunch of different things. So we get a lot of deal flow through obviously the Jones relationship and different businesses that are out there. And, even things like, as an example, that new overtime league that they just announced, right, with the high school kids. like I saw that business 7 months ago when they were coming up with the idea because they wanted us to invest in it. We decided not to, but I got to know like Dan Porter at Overtime and those guys really well. So it's been super helpful. It's created some great relations. Mike Miles' mom, Mickey, she works for the Cowboys, so we became great friends kind of through this and basketball. And there's just a bunch of really cool interconnected things that have happened. Obviously, doing the deal with Hal was super fun. That's the reason why we were the Hoops that last year with the Maxi crew and all that was, the big reason why we went over to the Hoops was because we had done a business deal with Hal, and it was kind of it was a down year for Houston for them, and we had the kids in Dallas, and so that's kind of how that deal even happened, was really through business, not really through basketball or any super creative way. It was really through business, and got to be great friends with Hal. And then same thing with David Stevens at Primetime. We got a chance to build a great relationship with them and did some stuff with Josh Woodson. And so anyways, it's just like the tournament operation business and all the technology that runs a tournament or runs the video analytics or all of that. Those were all the businesses that we did back then. But now currently it's a family private equity fund that's a partnership with the Jones family.
So you evolved. You pivoted and evolved around in business.
Yeah, and we see that. As I mentioned, he found a way to get into the business by being in the gym now. He's part of the business. Now he morphed into a private equity basically firm that and bought the Bigfoot Hoops, Primetime,
I remember that.
Star Media, and now then sold it off. Now, you mentioned that year that when Tyrese Maxey and Harmon and all the rest of those guys, when they came to play for the Houston Hoops, you were one of the coaches. You were on the bench, you and Josh Woodson, for the 17U team. And then shortly after that, your son ended up playing with Team Griffin, which is based in Oklahoma.
Yeah, how that happened?
What was the real? Did that decision still hunt as far as the relationships and the people in DFW powers that be? Or are they still pissed off with you for helping?
I think again, going back to, I think that if Drew hadn't improved and kind of become his own kid and become his own player with or without me, I would say probably yes. But because he has, there's an interesting dynamic in DFW where there's some tremendous media people here, and I think a lot of the teams that play mostly here, it's almost like an oversaturated look, right? Like they see a kid play 30 times, and by time number 21 or 22, they're like, well, he may not be very good at that. With Drew, like we'll go play up in Oklahoma or go play national, and then we'll come down to Dallas once or twice a year, and it's the only time they get to really see him. And it's like, wow, he did better here and he got better there. And so it's been this very, very interesting dynamic to see, to see that. And obviously we've got, look, it worked incredibly well for KJ Adams and for Damian Collins. Tyler Smith was supposed to play for us last year. Obviously he went back to the Hoops this year. But we've great relationship with Tyler and his mom. We've got a great kid joining us this year on 16s. The Trey Johnson kid, that's the 2024. I think he'll end up being, my opinion, will be one of the, if not the best, one of the 2 or 3 best kids in the state in the class of 24. And he's going to play up on 16s with Drew's team. So I made a decision for my kid specifically on coaching and the fact that Griffin is just, they run their program a lot different. It's not, it's more of a corporate feel. It's more of a organized feel. Obviously they don't have money issues, and it just feels more organized, I guess is the best way to put it. And there's no dads and there's no politics around any of that kind of stuff. So that last year we did the deal with the Hoops with Hal. It was kind of the perfect kind of thing because Drew was in 7th grade. And then we did that deal and kind of he went to Griffin in 8th. So it didn't really create any conflicts at all. And, built some great relationships. Obviously, Tim Schumacher coached that team to start with. And then because of mostly the Dallas kids, then Josh and I kind of took it over and we had a great run to finish that thing off with those kids. And I don't know if you remember, but that was the first EYBL documentary as well. So that documentary was super, super well done. And, Davion and Tyrese were covered in that. And obviously those 2 kids are doing tremendous. Donovan Williams is doing fantastic at Texas. And And, Chris is coming off his second injury, but he's going to do great at Oklahoma State. And De'Aaron Tucker's up starting at Oregon State. We had a really great group of kids. So, the grassroots thing is interesting because if you have a great group of kids, then you have great memories. If you have a bunch of knucklehead kids or knucklehead parents, then it always ends up bad. And that group of people specifically, like you guys know Kim Donovan's mom. I mean, like she was so much fun. She was so much fun that year, and we became really good friends. I know she's doing some really cool stuff around parent advocacy groups and things like that. So it was really, honestly, that Houston year for us was fun because it just built another group of relationships, right? It's kind of when I got to know Marcus Sloan, who's been really great in helping, and supporting Drew and some other kids we know up here. It just kind of created a great relationship base. Tim and I are still really, really good friends. Post all that, Hal and I are good friends. Josh Pastner, Hal's son, ended up offering Drew because he came to a bunch of the games because we were helping run the hoops. And so there's just the relationship base from that year was really, really good. But the Griffin guys are just a little bit different. Jeff Webster and I are really good friends. I'm tight with the drive people. I know all the folks at JL3, obviously, and then obviously still Tim. So there was options for Drew, but I think as a parent, when you find a great coach in AAU, that should trump everything else. To me, it's coaching and platform. And obviously, I'm biased. I'm wearing an EYBL hat, and those are all my guys, the guys that run it, and Jamal and all those guys are friends of mine. So I think it's the best platform for kids if they go play well. But the coaching thing was for me. I'm a former coach, so when I can get my kid, look, at the end of the day, I mean, Jim, you'll laugh at this, but my kid's white. I don't know what else to say. He's white. So he's not going to go dunk on you. He's not going to go be the best athlete on the court. He's very good at what he's very good at: shooting, IQ, handle, making the right play. He averaged 18, 6, and 5 assists this year in high school as a 6'5" combo. So for me, I needed to find the right AAU program that fits his game, right? And it's no different at the next level. My whole thing with the college side, and Shelby and I and Lupe and I have had this conversation just around dads that have recruitable kids. Like, it's all fit, man. It's so much fit at the next level. You look at Gerald Liddell transfer from Texas. Like, KT Turner's one of my greatest friends in basketball, but it just wasn't the right fit for Gerald, right? It's nothing wrong with Texas or Shaka. They're doing great. It just wasn't the right fit for Gerald. And I think the next place he goes to will be the right fit because there's things that he knows he needs. The advantage that Drew has, or the advantage that people have that I'm really good friends with, is that, I can help explain a little bit of that with the chaos going on in college basketball and COVID and free years of eligibility and the transfer portals and all the things that are coming. Everything comes down to fit. So I got lucky that, Coach Roby loved my kid, and that team is really, really good. They won the national championship in 8th grade. They would have been ranked in the top 3 or 4, 15U teams last year. They're going to be really good this year. But for me, it was coaching. To answer your question, I just wanted to find the right coach. And then, Kellen does, Jim, you've seen him, but I think Kellen McCoy possibly is the best coach in AAU. He's just a tremendously gifted coach. And so, for Drew, playing 16s with John this year, and then hopefully 17s, obviously, with Kellen next year, it just kind of creates that loyalty and creates that ability for him to do well in what he does well in, I guess is the best way to put it.
But Matt, Matt, you said fit. You talking about Liddell, fit. You kept saying fit. But didn't he know he didn't fit when he got there? I mean, what about, because, we got people, it's easy to say fit. So you're saying it didn't fit after he got there. It fit before he got to campus, but once he got to campus, it didn't fit anymore?
Well, I think there's two things. Like, Gerald's is a great example, right? So there was some funkiness in his recruitment. And you might remember this, Jim, and I think I'm okay to say this, but Baylor was really kind of in the lead for Gerald. And then during NBA Top 100 camp, Gerald got invited to that. Matthew Mayer, who's playing incredible, he ended up going on an unofficial and committing, like on the spot, committed. And that took away Gerald's scholarship. It was basically okay. They were going to take one of those two kids, kind of whoever went first, and Matthew went first. And so then Gerald, ended up kind of pivoting pretty quickly within 2 weeks and committing to Texas. And, you know, Shaka, that was early with Shaka getting there, Coach Smart getting there. And the you know, he played really fast, right, at VCU. So for Gerald and his skill set, like the VCU version of Coach Smart was a great fit. But then when he got to Texas, they played a little slower. The Big 12 is a different conference, right? And it's more physical. And so I think that part of things, and look, Gerald's been through a couple injuries as well. So that obviously has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I think if you talk to Gerald now that he's transferring and said, you know, what didn't work, there's, you know, 3 or 4 things that you probably could have identified ahead of time if that recruitment was a little different, right? Everybody's a little different. It's what I really respect about Lupe and Derek Shelby on what they're doing with their kids. Like, you know, they're both guards. They're not, you know, 6'7" guards. They're you know, 6'1" guards, and those 2 kids are really gifted. But they know they got to go the right fit, and their dads know they got to go the right fit in college, right? And that's not to say that like you couldn't drop them into any place, but you know, it's look, I've got some schools that are recruiting Drew, and you know, that I'm really good friends with the coaches just through the years, and some of them I haven't seen them play a white kid ever. Like, so why would I, like, you know, for me to send Drew to that school, like, it doesn't matter if the coach is white or black or Hispanic or whatever, if they have a certain way that they like to play with certain kids, and my kid's not one of those type of, say, athletes or you know, whatever it might be, then to me that's a fit, right? So you got to look at schools that play, you know, what your kid is, right? Like, I think Virginia for Austin, and I don't know any insider stuff, but like if you look at how Austin plays and what Virginia does with their guards, like that's a great fit to me, right? That's a great fit. If that works out, that'd be a great fit. And there's some stuff that Derek's doing, obviously with Noah and Lee, that'll be great fits. So I just think that it's incredibly important for 2 things right now. One is to find the right fit, and then 2 is to understand the dynamics of what the new world is, meaning coaches can't see you in person. They haven't been able to see these kids in person for 15 months. Everything comes through film now. And honestly, most of that comes through relationships, right? So the average parent who doesn't know Jim or doesn't know, you know, Coach Buff up here, Kellen Buffington, or doesn't know Marcus Sloan, or doesn't know somebody, it's super, super difficult right now. And you look at kids like, you know, Cruz Davis has been with me since literally 2nd and 3rd grade. And I love Cruz. You know, 2022, he just committed to Oregon State. I think that that's one of the smartest decisions for a kid in the state of Texas in a long, long time, because Cruz is a perfect fit for the Pac-12. And whether, you know, there's a lot of things that will happen between now and then for him getting on campus, but for him to commit, knowing that there's all these transfers that are coming, knowing that there's a free year of eligibility. I was talking to a college this morning up in the Midwest about Drew. I called him about Drew and whatever. And they have no idea. Like, they're over recruiting right now because they're getting all these free years, but then next year they've got to basically get back under the number, right? And no one knows how that looks. So like if you go to KT or Shaka and say, what's your roster at Texas looks like next year? Think about it, Jim, like when we grew up, or every year prior to basically this year, you could go up on your whiteboard, right? When I was coaching at Portland State, and be like, all right, these 3 are transferring, or these 3 are graduating. Maybe these 2 we want out of here, so they got to figure out how to transfer. And so we have 5 scholarships, right? And then we go recruit to those 5 scholarships. I don't think if you called, you know, the top 50 programs in the country right now, anybody would have a true feel of what that looks like for them next year. So to me, the relationships and the guys like Jimmy and the guys, like I said, Sloan, Buffington, you know, Paul Miranda, Stacey Houston, the guys that support these kids on the media side, that have the relationships with the college coaches, and then also understand that fit is everything. Those are like the little, you know, magic bullets that are really, really important right now for families.
And now, Matt, I wanted to ask you, somebody asked a while ago, one of the viewers, and we'll go and take a step back. How do you create a firm?
How do you create what?
A private equity firm.
Oh, Well, it takes a lot of money, which is not, it's not my money, right? But look, private equity is super simple. It's just investing in specific niche businesses, and some people like to do it more what I would call, venture on the front end. So you think about like Silicon Valley, that's the whole venture capital world. It's like, Jimmy, you have a great idea, you bring it to me, hasn't even been launched yet. I give you, $1 million or $500,000 to go start that business, and hopefully it turns into Google, right? Or Zoom or whatever else. The business that I'm in is more what we call growth capital or growth funding. So we're out looking for software businesses that are doing, 3 to 30 million in revenue, and then we're attempting to buy the majority ownership in those companies, and then helping them really grow fast, and then obviously selling, 2 to 3 years down the road. So that's our business. Is we've done 81 or 82 transactions since the summer of 2017 in the software and payment space. But anybody can start a private equity firm, but you just need a bunch of money. And so, obviously the Jones have done really well in their lives, and are committed. And then, like I said, my best friend, kind of like Drew's second father, if you will, he's done really well in the software and payment space. So that's how our firm came together, was that, right? But private equity notoriously is, anybody can invest into a fund, but it's a bunch of, very wealthy folks that are investing their capital into private equity firms, and the private equity firm goes and takes that capital and buys businesses and sells businesses and the such. So I mean, the truth of it is, I don't have any background in it whatsoever. Didn't go to school to do that. All I wanted to do was play basketball in the NBA or play in Europe like every other kid. Thankfully, I got a little stint in Europe, and then came back and started coaching. I was the youngest Division I coach in the country back in the day with Brian at Portland State. So that's all I ever wanted to do. But I think that my business is very consistent with college coaching, right? Like I think you could pull a KT Turner or a Jay Lucas out of Kentucky or Texas, and they could come do what I do really easily, because it's a relationship business, right? It's getting people on the phone and connecting the dots, and quite honestly, having the AAU background and having the background that I have has been really helpful in my real business, because it's amazing to me how many people want to talk about the chaos of grassroots basketball that are very successful, normal business people. Like it's really wild to me. So I was on the phone this morning with a guy, we're trying to buy his company, and he went to Duke. And he was like mourning the fact that they got beat by Georgia Tech. So, Jimmy, what do you think I said? Hey, man, Josh is a good friend. His dad, Hal, you can call him. We did a deal with him. So I'm talking basketball on business, and vice versa, which is super fun.
Now, in basketball, what are some of the myths in basketball that you learned that along the way that really aren't as true as most people out there may think? Let's say if there's a grassroots team out there and they have a player, and a lot of people say, well, man, I got this player, man, we're gonna beat Team Griffin. Now we're gonna get a sneaker deal. I mean, so like, how does that incorporate or present itself for us to land a sneaker deal? How hard is it? And you mentioned the relationships. Do they take part or precedent in that process?
Yeah, it's a great question. So if you think about the state of Texas, and I'm not saying this with any arrogance, but I think I'm the only one that landed an EYBL like that wasn't a pro, right? In the last, say, 6 or 7 years, we got our own deal from Nike. And I didn't play pro basketball like Jermaine, and I didn't, obviously wasn't connected at the level with Nike as say, obviously John, and then Hal's been doing it forever. And then, Jeff's got some incredible relationships that he's been doing it forever. So the 4 teams here, and we kind of were the 5th one, which honestly pissed a lot of people off. I mean, it's Jim, there's people that don't like me for no other reason than we got a deal, right? And they wanted one. What I would say, the 2 things that I've learned the most is that tournament wins don't mean anything. Nothing. Everyone thinks they do. Everyone thinks that you go win whatever tournament that it matters. And I'd even say that all the way back, even to the EYBL. If you think about when we won Peach Jam with the Hoops 15s, if you remember that, Jimmy, with Big Deuce and a couple of the Houston kids, and then Cason Wallace, and Terrell Woody was the coach. Like, I thought after that, I was like, we won Peach Jam, and Nike was like, good job. What are you doing next year? Right? It was like it didn't matter. All that matters in grassroots basketball at that highest of level is one or two kids. And Carlton DeBose, who obviously runs the EYBL, he had this quote in a Nike Top 100 camp. They do that camp every year for the top 100 sophomores and juniors, and he said it, and it really resonated with me. I was up there with Maxie, and he said it. So the whole camp. So there was a bunch of Houston kids there. I think Jadon Lee was there. It was really, really high level camp. And he came out and he said, there's 100 of the best players in the country here. You think that Nike cares about all 100 of you. I'm here to tell you they don't. We care about 5 to 7 of you. That's it. Why? Because those are the 5 to 7 that they're trying to sign to a deal once they go to the league, right? And so people that think they have a kid or whatever it might be, look, Josh has had Tyrese Maxey since he was a little kid, since they were in 3rd or 4th grade. Tyrone was on the bench with us the entire time. And Tyrese is doing incredible in the league right now. But you still couldn't take a Tyrese and go, quote unquote, get a deal. The second part of that is you can have a kid like that, but then you got to know the right people. So everybody asked me how we got our deal. It was super simple. I've known Vince Baldwin and John Stovall since I was playing basketball at Quincy University in Quincy, Illinois, when I was 19, 20, 21 years old. And I stayed in contact with them. And I went over to the EYBL stop in Frisco, Texas. If you remember that, Jimmy, back in the Julius Randle, Texas Titans days, his senior year. And we had just started our program at D1, me and Brian was good friends with Vince. So we have 2 ex-Division I coaches. Brian, 17 years, Division I coach, Oregon State, UMass, Toledo right before he came down here. And then me, back in the day at Portland State. So we walk into this event, we run into Vince, and Vince says, hey, man, you need to go meet my guy Merle and my guy Carlton. And that's when Merle was running Nike, right? EYBL. And Carlton was his right-hand guy. And we all met, and I've known Merle since I was coaching basketball at Portland State. So Portland State is 20 minutes from the Nike campus. And whenever they did R&D on their new stuff, they would bring it over to the school. They would literally padlock the doors, and all of our kids would practice in all their new stuff that they hadn't even named yet, right? Like, it was like when they were doing the Barkley shoe, our kids wore those in practice. And then at the end of practice, they'd have to write these little reports, and the head of R&D would go back to Nike. Merle was literally like, had just gotten there. He was a year into it. So I knew those people from when I was at Portland State in 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. And then we come back full circle, say 5, 6 years ago and 7 years ago, and we're in the gym. And then Merle moves on to Adidas, takes a year off. They give the job to Carlton. Carlton and I connected. We became friends. And he's like, hey, man, I want you guys to come do something different in Dallas. And we said, all right, cool. Now, you got to remember, Jimmy, at that time, we had a 6th grade team. Like, that's all I had. I didn't have any high school kids. So everybody that thinks that, like, oh, I got a kid or whatever, straight up, I got our Nike deal because of a relationship that we had, built over a 15, 20-year period. And then I went and got the kids, right? Then I figured out, man, we went and found Gerald. And then obviously that worked out well. And we did a partnership with Boo Man and Lupe for the first year with those kids. And then the second year, Josh and I linked up, and we had already been friends for a while. And that's where, Maxie and Harmon, all those kids came. So my point of it is, I don't know, relationships are everything. And that's how that happened. It wasn't because we had a kid or we won an event. I remember vividly, Jim, you remember this, when we won John Lucas with Drew's team, and I was texting all the Nike guys, and I was like, and literally, like, Jamal or somebody sent me a text back, so they're like, who cares? And I'm like, you don't care? You know what I mean? Like, I was like shocked. I'm like, no, we got like the #1 8th grade team in the country. He's like, that's cool. Like, what's it going to mean when they're 17s? So what I figured out is the shoe companies really, if you think about what Nike spends or Adidas spends or Under Armour spends, let's just call it a $15 to $30 million budget to go run their events in a normal year, right? In a non-COVID year. That's a total loss leader. They're not trying to make money on any of that. They're not trying to make money on attendance. They're not charging teams to enter the tournaments. They put a budget together that's in theory a marketing budget to have the best players in the country wear their stuff, and then to try to land James Wiseman and Cole Anthony and Tyrese Maxey and RJ Hampton and whoever is coming out that year. And that's what they care about. And I think when you realize that, then it puts your perspective in a different spot. And I love the dudes. Like, there's a couple programs in Dallas that are chasing hard right now. They remind me of us when we got started. And unfortunately, like, a couple of them have called and they're like, how do we get a deal? Like, we're ready. And I'm like, you ain't getting one, especially now. I mean, think about a Jimmy in Texas. Like, you know, Jermaine, you know, that relationship that he has, Jeff's relationships, you know, Hal's been doing it forever, like the hoops. And then you have John. I mean, you have literally 4 teams. So, like, anybody who thinks they're going to try to break into Nike at that point, good luck to them. And then you have Griffin right here that can get three out-of-state kids, right? And they just pulled 2 of the top 4 the last 2 years in Damian and KJ, right? They've got Drew, who's, you know, arguably a top 5 to 10 kid. We've got Trey, who's a top 3 or 4 kid. Like, so then you have those teams pulling 1 or 2 or 3 kids out. So anyways, it's just, I think it's super difficult. And, you know, my advice is, if they're good enough, find the right program that's the right fit and just stick to it. Because the other piece of those level of competition, Jimmy, you know, this is, you know, if Drew plays 4 games in a weekend on the EYBL, he doesn't have to play perfect in all 4 games, right? In that level, if you play good in 1 or 2 of them, like, it's over. That everyone just is like, he's ready. Let's get it. Then it just becomes a fit for the parents. So I think that's the part that's been a misnomer to a lot of people, is they think that winning events matters to get a deal. It doesn't. And then you look at what Nike's done. They've continued to contract teams, right? So, like, you get a deal and then all of a sudden everyone's on edge. Like, do we have a 17th? And so every year they kind of shift it up a little bit, right? And that changes the dynamic. So it's really, really interesting, man. The difference between me coming out, playing like the BCI events and the pump events back in the day, and Hal's events back when I was, you know, class of 93, compared to now for Drew, is like night and day. It's a very interesting dynamic. The one thing I would say to a parent, though, is all you need is 1 or 2 people that love your kid, that know the right people, and then just let them go do what they do. And I don't think you have to pay for it. It's not like I would go pay a scout to do that or anything like that. But I think outside the top 3 to 5 kids in the state of Texas, from 6 to 30, that, in my opinion, you have like 30 potential D1 kids every year in the state, right? Somewhere around 30. But from 6 to 30, you need an advocate. You need either a coach that's really connected, a program that's really connected, or somebody like Jimmy or Buff, or, you know, somebody that deals with the college coaches on a daily basis on scouting reports and that kind of thing, because you just want them to say good things about the kids that are really good enough, and be able to break down the difference between those kids and kids that think they're really good enough.
Now you mentioned, I just want to make sure you just throwing a number out there. You said 6, you said it's up to 30. And first, you were talking about Division I prospects in the state, or you talking about DFW?
No, I think more DFW. I think there's 50 to 60 in the state. But even if you look at, like,
I want to make sure I heard you right.
I just looked at a new ranking. Like, I don't know, one of the Texas Top 100 just put out their final 2021 ranking. And if you go down that list, you know, there's probably only 30 kids in that 100 that have committed or signed already, right? Now, there'll be 15 that'll do something here late. But if you think about how many kids play in the state, and then you think about there's, you know, call it 40 to 60 Division I kids, and then another 10 or 20 D2 kid, like the numbers get a little smaller than people think, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not as easy, or it's pretty difficult. And it's just not a lot of stuff out there. And then with what's going on right now, it just throws a whole nother wrench in it, right? I mean, nobody really knows. Like, nobody has any idea, even when the YBL dates are, or the Adidas dates are. Under Armour put their stuff out, but are they going to be able to play in every spot? And how is a team from New York that's supposed to get quarantined, able to fly to Dallas for an event and then fly. You know, it's like there's all these dynamics at play right now that are crazy, crazy interesting. You got college coaches who have, you know, I've heard a couple rumors, one that they're going to be able to come out in July, and then I heard another one that they're going to not be able to come out till January. So if they can't come out till January, what do you have? You have kids like Drew or the class of 22 that haven't been seen in 20 months in person. 20 months. So that's coaching, relationships, and the such to try to get these kids where they're at, which, you know, that's something I love to do regardless of me owning a program. Like I just enjoy helping those kids get to where they need to get. And guys like Shelby and Lupe and those guys do as well. So it's just a really interesting dynamic right now. And the world of AAU basketball has changed. And then you throw in this overtime thing. And what does that mean? Does that mean anything? Do they go get,
I got a question
30
for you,
kids?
Matt. Hold on, Matt. Why didn't you invest in overtime? Why didn't y'all didn't think it would? Why didn't you?
Well, two reasons. One is, look, they talked to me about Drew, and if I'm not going to put Drew there, then I would never, like, I'd never write a check unless I put my kid in that system, right? Does that make sense? And because I would never do that, like, I'd never turn Drew into a pro at 16 years old, whether they wanted him or not wanted him. To me, that, like, we invest in
business decision. Your son aside.
But on the business side, I think that it's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. And Dan, the guy that owns it, is incredibly smart. I mean, they raised a ton of money. I know who they got the money from. He's a very smart person. But ultimately, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. I mean, you got to think, the two business things that have to happen there is you have to have an audience that wants to watch, right? And they already have a great audience right now that's watching, you know, content that's kind of all over the place to some level. Like sometimes you'll see, you know, Harrison Ingram on overtime, and then I'll watch another one and it'll be some random something that you're like, what? Why is that even on there? So that's one thing. And then the second thing is you have to have the players that you want to watch, meaning like, you know, the whole rumor about Mikey Williams doing the deal with them, like they got to go get that level of kid to go do it, because you have the G League situation right now, you know, and that's obviously been super successful with Jalen Green and that crew this year. And they're going to have another situation next year. And then the last part of that, if you guys really sit back and think about it, like the sponsorship dollars come from, call it Gatorade, McDonald's, whatever, but it also comes from the shoe companies. And if you think about it, Overtime is competing directly with Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour now for that same kit, right? So let's take Tyler Smith. Tyler's arguably the #1 player in the state of Texas, right in your all's backyard in the class of 23. Mm-hmm. So when Tyler gets a call from Overtime, and they got some really smart consultants, like very, very prominent people that you'll start to see that are consulting them on what coaches to hire and what kids to get, things of that nature. But if Tyler gets that phone call and Deshaun sits down and says, do we go pro or do we not go pro? And what does that mean for Tyler? That's a really interesting dynamic. It just is. If you sit back and think about that, it's a really interesting dynamic. It's really like a European dynamic more than anything. So it's going to be really interesting to watch. I mean, at the end of the day, we just decided we didn't, you know, we had other things we wanted to do more. And again, to me, if I was going to put Drew there, then we probably would have done it. But the fact that I didn't, and the fact that there was just so many questions, it's going to be, I think that'll be the most fascinating basketball business to watch from afar in maybe the last 10 years. To see who they sign, to see how successful they are, to see how it grows, to see who's coaching the teams, right? All of those kind of things are very, very, very interesting to watch from afar. It'll be fun to watch. But I will say this: the guy that owns that company is very, very smart, and I think he'll find a way for it to be super successful. But it's gonna be really interesting to see what kids sign first, and then how that trickles down, right? Because you got to think, like, sit back and think about that one for a minute. If let's use Damian, just because he's a class of 21. Okay. So Damian Collins, little town in Texas, 2 years ago, no one knew him. Like Glenn Smith, you know, one of Jim's best friends, kept talking about this kid in Atlanta, Texas, because Glenn's from out there with goggles. First time I saw him, I'm like, man, that kid can't play dead. 2 years later, he's going to Kentucky, and he's arguably, in my opinion, maybe the best pro prospect in the state 2 years from now, right? One and done kind of kid, because he's a freak of nature athletically. He's a tremendous kid. He works his tail off. You know, he went up during COVID and spent a couple months with Kellen in Oklahoma, and Kellen did a great job up there. But like, if you really sit down and say, I'm going to grab that kid from Atlanta, Texas, and go make him a pro at 17 or 16, like, think of all the questions that come with that as a parent group, right? It's just going to be really interesting to watch from a distance. It really is.
It's a good point.
Now, lastly, we wanted, speaking of DFW area, recently, Mo Williams was living there, had a Mo Williams Academy. He gets the job at Alabama State. Alabama State is in the SWAC, and this year they're probably in the middle of the pack right now. You know, of course, Prairie View is running things, and they play Southern tonight. Prairie View is undefeated. Jackson State is undefeated. TSU is in third. Southern's in fourth. Now, I'm not. Am I wrong? But I'm not really. I don't really sense that DFW, as much love as Mo Williams was spreading for the area when he had his basketball programs, grassroots programs. Why aren't people sending their players to Mo Williams in the SWAC? And would you send your son to an HBCU? If so, which one would it be?
So to answer the I'll do the second first. The answer is yes, if it was the right fit. I said that, you know, fit to me is everything, right? So if the right coach, let's say Hampton, who's offered a bunch of kids, has, you know, or Coach Mouton called and said, hey, this is what we want to do with Drew, I'd have no problem with that. Obviously, Juan Reyna, you know, is going to Alabama State, you know, who's a Hispanic kid, which is, you know, Juan was with us when we won.
From down in the Valley.
Yeah, 15U, but he's been in, you know, at Duncanville for the last 2 years. So so the answer to the question, yes, because I don't care where Drew goes. I just want the right fit, and I want him to play, and I want him to get a great education. So, you know, as a dad, he can maybe come help run this business that we have one day, right? So academics go into that at every level. The first thing is, I'll say this: Mo is going to make it work. You know, Mo went to Cal State Northridge the first year that he left here, and he was out there with one of my dearest friends, a guy named Jeff Dunlap, who's the associate head coach at CSUN. And Jimmy, you might remember his son Brady, who I think is one of the top 30 kids in the country in the same class that Drew's in. He played for me this summer in the little, like, you know, that little D1 team we threw together with him and KJ Lewis and those kids. So he went out there for a year, got his feet wet. Actually, I think it was 2 years, and to get his feet wet. And then obviously, you know, we played for RM5 the year before the hoops, right? So when we stopped doing the D1 Premier thing, and Nike came to us and said, hey, we're not going to have a 17s deal for Maxie and Harmon and those kids, then we partnered with Mo and the RM5 guys to do that year, their junior year. So I know Mo really, really well. I think that Mo's going to make it work. I think that Dallas has given him a little more love than people realize. And then the other thing that I think that's happening, and I know this is happening even with kids like Drew, who, you know, can't get contacted directly by college coaches. So the college coaches have to go through the AAU programs, and we have to call the coach and whatever. And that all changes June 15th. Is that I think Mo, and they went through some COVID stuff this year. When they got there, they had to figure out what they had, and they had to worry about this season, right? And he just got there. So this season, like, what do I have now, right? They signed the kid from McKinney, who's playing well for them right now, that's starting for them, that played for Pro Skills. So point of it is, I think that once they get through this season in the next week or two and their season's over, then I think you're going to see that pendulum shift into recruiting, and you're going to see a lot of activity for him here. I really do. I just think that I think he'll get 2 to 3 kids a year out of Dallas.
So you're saying it just take a little time? It's just
look, he just got there, right?
Okay.
So think about it. He hasn't had a full year to recruit, and even if he did, he's doing it like this, right?
Yeah.
Through Zooms and phone calls.
Okay.
You can't go to campus. You can't visit unofficially. They can't see the kids. I think if you put Mo in an EYBL or Under Armour or Adidas session, and he walks in, everyone knows him, right? Then all of a sudden that energy and that vibe will change pretty dramatically. I think he's going to do really, really well there. And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 years if he's not, at a mid-major or higher as a head coach. I really don't. I really think that and look, Mo's not doing it for the money. Let's be real. He did really, really well as a player, and he's made some smart investments. So he's doing it because he loves it and because it's a path he wants to take. It's a little bit like a Damon Stoudemire at Pacific, right? Yeah. Watch where Damon Stoudemire ends up in the next couple of years, because Damon was at Portland when I was there coaching, and we had a great relationship with the Blazers. I got to know Damon really, really well. He ain't in it for the money. He made, $100+ million. Yeah. So end of the day, me, like Matt,
I just want to, since you mentioned his name, that's one of the greatest basketball minds that I'm a young basketball minds around. If a person sit down and talk to Damon about basketball, he will blow you out of the water. And I mean, it's unbelievable. A lot of people don't know that because everybody don't know him. But I'm just glad you brought his name up. Yeah, he don't do it for the money, but he's gonna make somebody at one of these colleges a great addition.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of guys. Think about like I'll give you one more, Jimmy, that people sleep on a little bit in Dallas. But look, Jason Terry's at Arizona right now, right? And obviously, like, who knows what happens with that whole thing? But another guy that made a bunch of money, that's in it for the right reasons, I think, and will be a head coach, no different than Juwan Howard or those kind of guys. It's a very interesting dynamic if you think about guys like Jermaine getting into the grassroots world and now being an agent and owning Drive Nation's facility. And you think about Damon and Mo and Juwan and so, like it's a really interesting movement that was different than when I came out, right? When I came out, it was like it didn't have that same vibe of guys that played in the league that want to go into college basketball or into AAU of all things. Like, there's not a lot of money in AAU. So the guys that are trying to make a living doing that or trying to do it, they're really not in it. I mean, I know Jermaine.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again, Matt?
There's no money.
Because I think that sometimes people
I'm gonna go back to all of our pros one day in like 5 years and say everybody owes me like $10,000 to make up for all the money that I personally spent when we did this thing. But no one's in this for the money. I mean, if they are, then then it's a really tough road. And I say it all the time, Jimmy, you'll love this because you know Brian so well, but like, we're making money with D1, but it's what I call bad basketball. It's developmental, kindergarten through 6th grade, bad basketball. It's not this stuff that we're talking about. There's nothing in it on this other than people losing money. So yeah, it's an interesting world.
I can put I go back and get my receipts that I spend in this stuff. I sit there and say, people just don't understand, especially when you flying these people all over the country for years.
Look, I was spending 50 grand of my own money a year on a 5th, 6th, and 7th grade team, like for no reason. I look at it now, Jimmy. Like I look about that team, and it was so much fun. And Drew got really, really good out of it, and we put him in tough spots. And Cason Wallace. I mean, look, Cason Wallace. People think, people say he's the best guard in the state right now, one of the 2 best guards in the, him and Keontae, Bryce, etc. Man, Mike Wallace was my assistant. Mike Wallace wouldn't let Cason shoot a jump shot till 6th grade. It's a true story. And he's maybe the best point guard in the state. Probably ends up at, Kentucky, Texas, wherever. But Mike wouldn't let him shoot a jumper because he didn't think he was strong enough till 6th grade. Mike also raised Keaton, who just broke the 2,000 point barrier at UTSA, who played for us, right? So like, there's just, again, fit and all of that goes into it. It's a basketball AAU is incredibly different. Like the guys that like Hal and David Stevens at Primetime, the ones that have made a real business and a living out of it, they're on the operations event side. They're not in the team side or the camp side. It's just the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. And then you have guys like, I mean, this is the last thing I'll say, and Jim, I know you have a lot of respect for it, but like what Buffington's done here in town with his stuff in the last 2 years has blown my mind. I really didn't think anybody could come in and kind of create the business that he's created where everybody wants to rock with him. All the AAU directors want to rock with him, but more importantly, the kids want to rock with him, right? And that's what, like, him and Marcus Sloan have done such a good job in the state is the kids want to rock with him. they become advocates to the kids, and they support the kids, and then the kids want to support them, and then their events are fun. And so that's this interesting new, like, call it, in the last 2 years, you've seen that dynamic shift to guys like them that are young, aggressive, smart business dudes that are doing it the right way. And I think they're getting a lot of success, having a lot of success because the kids want to rock with them.
Now I got a question. You mentioned somebody. You're saying doing it the right way, and we're going to extend. I got a couple of minutes left. Doing it the right way. So you're saying to go to a parent and charge them to tweet about their son is doing it the right way?
No, I disagree with that.
So I'm just saying you just attach doing it the right way. I just want to clear that up because we know for a fact, and I got some receipts in here from the one that lives in Houston that's doing that. So that ain't doing it the right way.
Well, I'm not going to.
I'm a gatekeeper, and I'm going to keep that gate closed on that, so where people don't try to swing it open, because misleading folk will often. That's what started that. People being misled. That ain't the right way. If you're out there and you're saying you're doing it for the kids, then the question at some point, the question will meet you at the road, and it will be, if you're doing it for the kids, then why are you charging so much? Then the truth will come out and say, well, man, look, this is a business. I'm in a business. Well, hold on. You said you were doing it for the kids. You see? So that means the deception it precedes your action. And then when your action goes, the narrative changes. That's all I want to make sure that I throw inside there, because people get that right, and I ain't gonna let it go down. Not on the chop shop. Not like that there.
So here's the good thing.
Now, Buff, I don't have no evidence of Buff, and we commit him doing that. So I just said the one that live in Houston. I know.
Here's what I'll say. The good thing is I have no privy to that. I've never been asked to ever pay for any of that. So I guess you can be the gatekeeper there. I just my comment is specifically around the people that my son wants to rock with and his friends want to rock with is a different group of people than it was 5 years ago. That's all. That's the comment I'm trying to make. And it's interesting, but you know this, Jim. Like those kids, thankfully, Drew's at a spot in his career that's doing pretty well. But like they've all become great friends, right? So they all talking about right now. Like I'm in this really interesting thing I've seen some group chats and some Snapchats and whatever of Drew's where like you get, Ron Holland and KJ and Drew and Tyler and those kind of kids are like, man, where do we want to go to school together? And what do you got? Like all of a sudden it becomes this different dynamic. I saw it with Davion and Tyrese and Chris, but yeah, the good thing is every time I see any of you guys talk about the pay stuff, I kind of chuckle behind the scenes because I haven't seen it firsthand. I saw a young guy do it when we were little. You probably remember who that was back in Kentucky or something, but I never seen anything personally
the young
here.
Guy, he was 15, 16 years old at the time.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it with my own two eyes, and I obviously haven't ever done that. Look, social media in general is a trip, man. I think that, people think there's more to it than there is. Meaning, the last thing I'll say is this: I always said about rankings and about social is it's good to be relevant. That's the only thing that I'll say about that. Like relevancy is important, but when it really comes down to it, it doesn't matter, right? I just saw a stat. This will blow your mind. The kid Grady Dick, who just committed to Kansas yesterday from Sunrise, he's ranked like number 34 in the ESPN rankings, right? Mm-hmm. And he's their highest ranked commitment in like 4 years.
Kansas?
Yes. Sit with that one. So
say that again then.
So Grady Dick is the highest ranked commitment in the last 4 to 5 years for Kansas at number 34 in the country.
So what are you saying? Kansas don't get high ranked guys?
Well, they do, but they're not getting 1 through 20. I mean, think about it right now, Jim. Name a kid in the last 5 years that's called it 1 through 30 that went to Kansas. I can't name one. Jalen wasn't top. Jalen was top 75. That's David McCormick was top.
That's right.
But my point is they found a niche of kids that they can develop, right, that have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they win the Big 12. I mean, this is the first year they haven't won it in, 12 years, 13 years? and they're still really done. I mean, should they just beat Baylor the other night? So they're obviously still really, really good. So again, if you look at fit, back to my original thing about fit on a parent side, I think the colleges that do that the best are the ones that are the most consistent.
Oh, no.
Right?
Grimes. What about Grimes, Coach? Grimes was a top pick, top guy.
Grimes wasn't top 20. He was number 1 in Texas, but he wasn't on the ESPN rankings and all that.
Oh, okay. Oh, Bryce Thompson. Bryce Thompson.
He made the McDonald's game. Yeah,
Bryce wasn't top 25. He was a McDonald's All-American at like 38 or something like that. 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
educate me today. Educate me.
I was thinking. We only got about 45 seconds. We got to get up out of here and got to get over to the station. But man, we rocking and rolling. We definitely, man, we appreciate you coming to chopping it up with us on the Chop Shop. You dropped nuggets all over the place. You gave knowledge. We touched about 7.
Jimmy, he dropped some nuggets and you dropped some bombs. Boy, I'm gonna call you Charlie Wilson. You dropped the bomb on me, baby.
That's Oklahoma. Hey, that's Oklahoma. At Tulsa. There you go. That's your homeboy. There you go. And of course, I got the text message on yesterday. Team Griffin, they have reserved a slot for the spring icebreaker, and they asked about hotels. So it sounds like I haven't spoken with them, but they texted me last night, this morning, and about some other stuff. So we're looking forward to the spring icebreaker. Guys, as you can know, we have closed registration for most divisions. We have extremely too many teams. And I told you guys, if I had more space, I probably could accumulate and accommodate more teams. But we are stuck. We're sitting on 367 teams right now.
Matt,
that's crazy.
Matt, I can't wait.
I've maxed out all the space.
Hey, Matt, tell your son Robert Hatter gonna be front and center. Get on down here, tell him to be ready. I'm gonna be in the corner like this here with my hazmat suit on.
My number one compliment on my kid is not basketball related. It's that he is a gamer. That's my number one. Like he wants all the smoke and he ain't scared of nobody. So you don't have to worry about him showing up for sure.
I seen the video.
He's coming down H-Town. I'm gonna put whatever Haller say he want to go against. But he knows understand how.
No, I ain't messing like that, Jim. I just want to see the kid play in person.
Understand. His son is 2023. He's not a rising senior. He's a rising junior. So I'm just letting you know that way now. Whatever you see, there's still another year left.
He's 16. I want to see him dominate them 16. That's what I want to see him do.
There you go. Hey, you guys. The good thing about my family and the good thing about Griffin is they'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. Because again, back to my original point, it ain't about winning games. It's about putting them against great players and letting them all have success.
Man, I love
Appreciate it, man.
I love it.
Thanks so much, man. That's Matt Steffi, guys. He's rocking. Of course, Team Griffin is where his son plays during the grassroots sector. So that in case you are curious and want to check them out, they are scheduled to be at the spring icebreaker on March the 19th through the 21st. And they'll be playing in the showcase division, which will feature a few other grassroots sneaker sponsored programs as well. We thank you so much, Matt Steffi. It is time, guys, to slide down Dino's back and Yabba Dabba do this thing for this Baby Friday. We had fun. It was a fun-filled week. Make sure you share the show if you haven't done so already. Shout out to our people over on the YouTube and the Facebook Boom Boom Rooms. There's a lot going on. High school playoffs. We didn't get to touch that topic around the state. Showdowns in DFW. One match sold out in roughly between about 15 minutes. One matchup sold out. Dallas Kimball and
Matt, you ain't going to that game, are you?
Look, they're all sold out. I tried to get tickets to Cason's game, and that was sold out in like 30 seconds.
Man, I'm not going to these super spreaders, man. I'm not going. Y'all can have fun at these super spreaders this weekend.
I'm just telling you this. In Dallas for playoffs, there is no such thing as COVID. I went to Cason's game the other night, and I'm like, well, like this is nuts. There was like 3,000 people in the game. So
Hey,
yeah,
Jimmy, I got to let everybody know, Jimmy, I'm going to get that shot tomorrow. Jimmy,
Yes.
at 2 o'clock, Jimmy, at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be like this, Matt. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to be just like this here.
Hey, I got
I'm
mine.
going to get that shot tomorrow.
I got mine done.
I got mine a couple of weeks back, so I told him I got mine. You know, hey, and remember, and we have Ice and Mike, Medical Mike, guys. Don't forget about the concierge if you're in Greater Houston, and understand, my Medical Mike. If you got anything wrong with you, you can go through your own insurance or go on your own way if you want. They might give you an appointment for next week. He will get you in there. Guess what happened this past Saturday, last week, Adam? One of the coaches that were in attendance met Medical Mike, had a shoulder injury. He played ball and it's been aching. His shoulder been aching. Medical Mike went and made a phone call, came back to that coach and said, I can get you on the docket for an MRI on Monday. And then the coach said, no, let me wait till after spring break. He had the back. He said, he didn't know Medical Mike was that good. He said, I can get you an MRI Monday. And this was on Sunday. That's how good he is. Whatever wrong with you, he can get you in there. Remember, doesn't charge you a dime. He don't charge you a penny. If you got insurance, or if you don't have insurance, they still got a network of doctors that take, guess what? They take it like they take it in Mexico. They take it this way. You understand? So anyway, any way you want it, Medical Mike can get you through. Don't forget, guys, that's the concierge. Anyway, Haller, on behalf of Robert Haller, this is Jim Hicks. Hey, man, thanks a bunch, Matt Stefford. We up out of here. It's time again to slide down Dino's back and yabba do this thing on this baby Friday. Peace. We up out of here.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop.